Here at Overlanding Creation, we like to talk about a variety of different guns, review them, shoot them, and today we have a very special gun that I want to show you guys. It's something I came across recently. I was very intrigued by it. I thought it was a very unique little gun, great for a survival option, and I'm sure you've already seen the thumbnail or the title of the video, but I am going to introduce that gun in just a second. First of all, though, I want to touch on a couple things. In my previous video, the one right before this, I talked about this Camillus survival knife. It's a fixed blade knife, comes in a plastic sheath, and it does have a ferro rod in the tang there. So if you want to know more about this knife, just go back to the previous video. I'm sure I'll leave a link down below as well. And I used this knife in that video to cut things, start the fire, just kind of demoed it a little bit. But the reason why I'm bringing that up again is I announced in that video that I'm doing a giveaway for one of those knives. I have one right here actually. So brand new Camillus survival knife. Like I said in the last video, I'm giving that away to one of the subscribers. So I just want to touch on that one more time. To be entered in that giveaway, you have to be subscribed to the channel, you have to leave a comment down below, and you have to follow me on my Instagram page, which is overlanding_creation. Now, everyone who commented on the previous video will be entered in that drawing, assuming they're subscribed and follow my Instagram. But I'm going to give another opportunity in this video to comment as well. So anyone who comments in this video will get one entry, and anyone who comments in the previous video will get another entry, for a maximum of 2 entries per person. Like I said, you do have to be subscribed to the channel and follow me on my Instagram page. I'll probably give it about a week after this video goes up, and then I'll go ahead and do that drawing, and I'll announce the winner of that knife. One other thing I want to touch on real quick is Torch EDC. This is my Torch EDC 30-liter backpack. You guys have seen it on the channel a bunch of times. I did a full review video on this backpack, so I'm not going to go into it today. However, anyone who's interested in purchasing a backpack from Torch EDC can go to their website, torchedc.com. They can enter my discount code, which is Overland10, or you can also follow the link below or in my bio, and you can purchase products from their website and get 10% off this bag or any of the other Torch EDC products. So now that those things are out of the way, let's go ahead and introduce the gun. Okay, so this is it. This is the TPS Arms M6 Takedown. And I'm gonna do this video in 3 parts. The first part is me showing you the firearm in question and doing a basic overview of it. Then I will also take you to my workbench. We'll go over the various types of ammo that this gun can shoot. And then at the very end of the video, there will be a shooting portion where we get out and we actually take this thing for a spin and shoot a few different things with it. So just to start us off with, again, the TPS Arms M6 Takedown. It's a really cool little survival rifle, as you can see. Now, I did look into the history of this. Like I said, I came across this recently. I was very intrigued by it. So just to give you a really basic history, I'm not a big history buff. I don't know everything there is to know about this rifle, but in the little research I did, my understanding is this rifle originated back in 1952. It was created by Springfield Armory, and it was created for the U.S. Air Force. It was called the U.S. Air Force Aircrew Survival Rifle, or survival weapon. And the original design was that this rifle, it folds in half like a typical break action shotgun. But also there's one pin here, and if you take that pin out, this whole thing will actually come in 2 pieces, can very easily be stored in a small place. So the rifle was issued to helicopter pilots, and they would place it under the seat in their helicopter. So in the unlikely or unfortunate event that their helicopter was shot down, they would have a very basic survival weapon that they could use to survive in the jungles. Remember, at the time, a lot of the fighting was in places like Vietnam or North Korea, where these helicopter pilots were being shot down in the forest, the wilderness, the thick jungles. And so rather than being a weapon for war, a fighting weapon, this was really meant more towards a survival situation. The original one, to my knowledge, so it has 2 barrels. The lower barrel was a 410 shotgun, and the upper barrel was a 22 Hornet. Now, over time, that has changed, and now TPS Arms offers it in a variety of different chamberings. I think the most common one is 22 long rifle up top and 410 shotgun at the bottom. But again, so the idea was it gave you something that could be used to take small game, squirrel, rabbits, birds, things like that. You could even, with the 410, you could even put a slug in there, maybe kill a deer or something. So it made for a very great survival rifle, survival weapon for these pilots. So I was just really intrigued by that history. And so I wanted to go ahead and pick one up. So again, this one is manufactured by TPS Arms. My understanding is back around, I think 2008, again, don't quote me on that, Springfield Armory stopped manufacturing this for the commercial market, and the patent was sold to TPS Arms. So they're the ones that actually manufacture it now. It is almost identical to the original rifle, except for a few minor modifications to make it legal to be sold in the commercial market. Those including a handguard down here. So my understanding, the original model that was issued to the Air Force did not include this handguard. You just simply had the trigger. As you can see, this has a paddle style trigger, which I thought was very unique. Has a little ridge on the back there, so you can kind of put your finger on there and treat it like a normal trigger, but this whole paddle part there is the trigger. And basically the reason why they did that, again, there was no trigger guard. So these pilots would have large gloves on or even mittens depending on the time of year, and having that paddle just made it really easy to squeeze that trigger regardless of what you had on your hands. You didn't have to take your gloves off or your mittens or whatever. So basically very easy to pull the trigger under any circumstance. Now obviously to make it available, to make it legal for the commercial market, TPS Arms did put this trigger guard on there. They also added a push button safety. So you can see there a little push button safety that was not available on the original rifle that was issued. Other than that, as far as I know, it's very, very similar. They changed a few materials. There's some polymer back here. I think the original one might have been steel. Some of these things were actually looked at as being upgrades because I know that some of the original ones were prone to rust. And then there's also a compartment in here, which this is probably my favorite part about this thing. I think it's really cool. So the stock part actually opens up and you have a little storage area for your ammo. So this particular one here is an over-under 410 shotgun. So both barrels are 410 bore. Like I said, you can get it in a variety of different chamberings, the most common being 22 long rifle, but I think you can get it in 17 HMR over 410. You can get it in maybe 22 Magnum, and then I think 357 was another option, I'm not sure. But this one is actually a little bit less seen, at least I haven't seen many of them where they're both 410. So I thought that was a little unique. You have 410 over and under. And one of the things that interested me in the 410 over under as opposed to like a 22 long rifle, in a survival situation, the 410 shotgun shell or 12 gauge, really any shotgun shell, but in this specific platform, 410 gives you a huge variety of different types of rounds that can be fired through this. So when I'm thinking survival situation, you don't want to have multiple different guns on you. You're not going to have handgun, rifle, shotgun all carried with you. So if you're taking one gun into the wilderness for survival, you want something that's going to give you a large variety to take game anywhere from, you know, bird, squirrels, up to larger game like deer, or possibly even to defend yourself against something like a bear. Not that 410 is the caliber of choice for a bear, but in a survival situation, if you needed to protect yourself like that, you absolutely could with something like this. So the 22 long rifle just didn't really seem as applicable for that scenario. So I like the 410 over under option. Like I said, there doesn't seem to be as many of these out there. The 22 was a little bit more popular. So again, just some basic features of the gun. You have the two barrels. You have a front post sight there, which lines up back here. It's a fixed sight. It's all solid metal, so it's not going to get bumped or damaged. Very easy to use. Also very accurate. You can't adjust them. So first time shooting it, it was dead on. So I was very pleased with that. Basically, the way it works is as a break action shotgun. So you lift up on this thing here, it breaks open, and you have two shells there. So that's where you would load it up. This piece here kind of pushes them out so they're easy to eject. You close it, and then you have the hammer back here. And the way it works, the hammer does not work if the safety is on. So you pull the hammer back, and it has this little plunger mechanism. When it's pulled up, it will fire the top barrel, and when you push the plunger down, it fires the lower barrel. So very easy to use there. Like I said, it has the paddle style trigger, which makes it very easy to squeeze if you have gloves on. But I've also noticed, in my experience using it, typically what I'll do is I just put my finger on that little notch there, and if you squeeze very gently on that little notch, it kind of works similar to a normal trigger. So not too difficult there. Again, TPS Arms, manufactured in Mesquite, Texas. So it is fully manufactured in the United States, which is another thing that I really like about it. On the front here, you'll notice some paracord. Now, this did not come with the rifle. I added to it based on what I've seen a lot of other people do. I think that even the Air Force pilots did this back in the day to make it a little bit more convenient to use, but then also to add a survival tool. I'm not positive about that, but I have seen a lot of people do it. I thought that was a really genius concept here. So basically, I wrapped the front end here in paracord. It makes it a little bit easier to use rather than gripping just the basic barrel itself. You have something that's a little bit easier to hold on to. Makes the barrel not quite so cold. If you're in the wintertime, this can get icy cold. Or if you're doing a lot of shooting, can also get very hot. So it just gives you a little bit of protection on the fore end there. But also, this is probably about 20 feet of, more than that, probably about 25 to 30 feet of paracord. So in a survival situation, if you need cordage for shelter, for traps, whatever, I have 30 feet, probably about 30 feet of paracord on the front end that can easily be taken off and used. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea there. All right, well, I think that pretty much covers all the basics. So like I said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump inside, and I'm gonna go over a variety of different ammo types that you can use, which is what makes this particular gun so versatile for a survival gun. And then after that, we'll come back out, we'll do some shooting. Okay, so stepping inside here to my workbench, this is where I do all my reloading. I want to take a minute to talk to you about the variety of different types of ammo that can be shot through this gun. This is one of the reasons why I think this is one of, if not the best survival weapons, just based on the fact that you have so many different options, and it gives you that extra ability to take a very large variety of game out in the wilderness to keep yourself alive or even defend yourself. So starting here on the low end, we have your basic birdshot. This is Winchester AA number 8 shot, so very small little BBs. You're going to have a very widespread, great option for taking very small game like birds, maybe as large as some waterfowl like some ducks or some squirrels, but really this would be something that you would use for very small animals. Next up would be the number 6 shot. Now this is what I chose to be my smallest round. As I showed you previously, my little lineup of ammo that I have here in the stock, this is what I went with for my birdshot. It's number 6, so the BBs are a little bit bigger, and it allows you to take some, a little bit larger game like rabbits, squirrel. This would be great for ducks, geese, things like that. Really anything that's small in the wilderness, this would make a great option. So I went with number 6. It still gives you a very large spread of BBs. There's a lot of BBs in here. And yeah, so really good for a small game like that. Now, one step up is your triple-aught buck. This is the Winchester Super X, 3-inch, so this is a Magnum shell. Once again, shows you on the box, you have a fox, you have a coyote. This kind of gets you into that more medium game range. Also makes a great defensive round. So you have 5 large pellets traveling at about the speed of most 9mm handgun bullets. Also, like I said, this is a 3-inch Magnum. This gun can shoot 2.5-inch or 3-inch shells. So you do have some variety there. One step up gets you into the slugs. So these are 2 options from Winchester. You have a 3-inch Magnum round and a 2.5-inch round. These are both 1/4-inch slugs. They're called hollow point, rifled slug hollow point. Basically what that means, if you look at it, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you have a little bit of of a divot in the top there, just kind of hollowed out. I think it helps it expand a little bit. So yeah, so that's a great option. Once again, if you just look at the box here, shows you deer. This would be more than capable of taking down your typical white-tailed deer. Once again, this one is traveling at 1,830 feet per second, and this one is traveling at 1,800 feet per second. So both of them are rifled slugs, hollow points. You have the 3-inch Magnum and the 2.5-inch. So there again, just based on those alone, you can take everything from small birds all the way up to white-tailed deer. So when you're in the woods in a survival situation, obviously probably your most prevalent game is going to be something like birds or rabbits and squirrels. So what I did was I put the most of those in there. I put 6 shells in there. That's probably what you're going to use the most to take animals. However, having the capability in the same gun, the same platform, to move up to taking a white-tailed deer could be huge in a survival situation. That's something that could feed you for days. So just the simple ability to take a variety of all these on board with you, you can have them in the stock. I think that gives you very unique capability. And then the last area that we have is the defensive round. So this is the Hornady Critical Defense. There's a few other brands. I know Winchester makes one as well. And this particular round includes a 41 caliber FTX slug. That's what's on the end there, as you can see in the picture. It also includes 2 35 caliber round balls. So those would be probably pretty similar to what's in the buckshot. So kind of gives you a little bit of both. You have a large slug at the front as well as the buckshot. So you have three rounds coming out of this, 3 projectiles, and it's showing 300 foot-pounds of energy and 750 feet per second. So this is something that would make a great defensive option to defend against really any threat, but thinking in a survival wilderness situation, I'm thinking about things like black bear, grizzly bear, depending on how far north you go, possibly brown bear. Obviously, again, guys, I'm not saying that the 410 shotgun is your weapon of choice to go against a giant brown bear. However, it gives you the largest variety of rounds. There's really no rifle, to my knowledge, that you can use to defend against a grizzly bear, but also take down little birds to eat, squirrels, rabbits, things like that, to survive on. In that situation, you kind of have to carry multiple guns. You'd have to have a handgun, you'd have to have a rifle, and somehow a shotgun. That just kind of gets to be improbable at that point. So just touching again on the fact that you can carry the ammo with you in the gun itself, I thought was super unique. I know I already showed you this, but I keep 6 rounds of the number 6 birdshot in the front here. So like we touched on, that's great for squirrels, rabbits, small game. This is really what I would use to feed myself in a survival situation. I could kill small game very easily using that number 6 shot. Moving back, I have 3 of the buckshot. This would be used for taking medium-sized game, coyotes, foxes. You could take deer with this, but I don't think it would be ideal for that. Gives you that capability of something a little bit larger. And then at the very back, I have my slugs, so my 1/4 ounce slugs. This could be used to take larger game like deer. You could potentially kill a bear with this if you need to. And it could also be used for self-defense, depending on what threats you encounter in the given survival situation. Now, I don't have any of the critical defense rounds in there. I may change that down the road. I'm not sure. I might just add maybe 1 or 2 of these in there just to have that extra capability. But I'm not sure yet. I'm still kind of figuring out how I want my setup to be. Very large variety of shells you have at your disposal, which makes this gun such a great survival weapon. And really why I'm getting to the point to where I'm starting to recommend the 410 shotgun, especially in this configuration with an over-under, as potentially one of the best survival weapons that you could take with you into the field. And just as the rain's starting, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks for watching the video today, guys. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you want to be entered into the giveaway of the survival knife, go ahead and leave a comment down below in this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and also follow me on my Instagram page, which is overlanding_creation. There will be a link down below as well. Also, if you want a second drawing into the giveaway, you can go back to the previous video, leave a comment on that video, and that'll get you 2 entries into the giveaway of the survival knife. That'll do it for the video today, guys. I do appreciate you watching. I appreciate you tuning in every Monday. I try to put out new content every week on Monday. Let me know your thoughts on the M6 Takedown by TPS Arms, or if you have another survival weapon that you think is a great option, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. That'll do it for today, guys. I'll catch you next Monday.